Hello students and welcome to Services classes. My name is Ashmita and in today's class we are going to talk about certain very common interview questions and how you can crack it in one go. So basically interviews are like very stressful, right? It can make you nervous, it can give you anxiety, and there can be various nerve driven situations, especially if it's your first interview. So a little practice and a little preparation will always pay well off. So while we don't know basically what exactly can an employer can ask, here we are going to talk about 10 common interview questions along with certain advice on how to answer them. So let's start the class. The first question: could you tell me something about yourself and describe your background in brief? Now, how you can answer this very common question. And basically this is the first question that mostly employers or interviewers ask. Interviewers like to hear stories about candidates, so make sure your story has a great beginning, a riveting middle, and an end that makes the interviewer root for you to win the job. Try to talk about a relevant incident that made you keen on the profession you're pursuing, and also follow up by discussing your education. In the story, weave together how your academic training and your passion for the subject or the industry the company specializes in have combined with your work experience, have made you a great fit for the job. If you have managed a complex project or worked on an exciting offbeat design, mention it. Here I'm going to give you an example how to answer this question. You can say, I come from a small town where opportunities were limited. Since good schools were a rarity, I started using online learning to stay up to date with the best. That's where I learned to code, and then I went on to get my certification as a computer programmer. After I got my first job as a front-end coder, I continued to invest time in mastering both front-end and back-end languages. I also went through learning about tools and also frameworks. So that's how you can answer the first question. Now moving over to the second question, which is once again very common in any kind of interview. How did you hear about this position? Now how will you answer this? Employers want to know whether you're actively seeking out their company, heard of the role from a recruiter, or were recommended to the position by a current employer. In short, they want to know how you got to them. If someone recommended you for the position, be sure to say their name. Don't assume that the interviewer already knows about the referral. You will probably want to also follow up with how you know the person who referred you. Like, for example, if I say, if you and Steve, who recommended you, suppose Steve is the person who had recommended you this position, had worked together previously, or suppose you have met him over coffee at a networking event, try to mention it. Try to mention the person who has referred you this position to give yourself a little more credibility. If Steve, that is the person who has referred you this position, works at that company and suggested you that you apply for the job, explain why he thought you would be the perfect fit. On the other hand, if you sort out the role yourself, be clear about what caught your eye. Extra bonus points if you can align your values with the company and their mission. You want to convince the hiring manager that you chose their company over all the other companies for a few specific reasons. Lastly, if you were recruited, explain why you took the bait. Did this role sound like a good fit? Does it align with the direction you want to take your career? Even if you weren't familiar with the organization prior to being recruited, be enthusiastic about what you have learned and honest about why you are interested and in moving forward with the process. Even if you weren't familiar with the organization prior to being recruited, be enthusiastic about what you have learned and honest about why you are interested in moving forward with the process. Like for example, let us try to frame an answer for this question. I would be giving you an example. Like I learned about the position through a very famous app known as LinkedIn, as I have been following your company's page for a while now. I'm really passionate about the work you are doing in this areas. Like suppose marketing and finance and all those other areas you can mention. So I was excited to apply. The required skills match well with the skills I have, and it seems like a great opportunity for me to contribute to your mission, as well as a great next move for my career also. Now, moving over to the third question, what can be the typical third question in an interview? What type of work environment do you prefer? The interviewers might ask you. When I'm talking about this kind of a question, you should be sure to do your homework on the organization and its culture before the interview. You should be knowing every bit of details about the place you're going for interview, about the company, about its background, history, what achievements they have made, what limitations have been done. Whatever you see on the internet, try to get hold of every information. So your research will definitely save you over here for this question. Your preferred environment should closely align to the company's workplace culture. And like for example, I would like to say that, for example, you may find on the company's website that they have a flat organizational structure, that they have prioritized collaboration and autonomy. So those can be the keywords that you can mention in your answer to this question. So if the interviewer tells you about the company that you didn't uncover in your research, like our culture appears buttoned up from the outside, but in reality it's a really laid back community with little competition among the employees. Your goal is to share how your work ethic matches that of the organizations. Giving you an example over here from my side, you can answer like this. That sounds great to me. I like fast-paced work environments because they make me feel like I'm always learning and growing. But I really thrive when I'm collaborating with team members and helping people reach a collective goal as opposed to competing. My last internship was at an organization with a similar culture, and I really enjoyed that balance. So that can be an answer from your side. Just do modify whatever I'm saying. The next question that you can come across is, how do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? You can be asked this kind of question. The employer wants to know basically that, do you hold down the fort or crumble under pressure? They also want to make sure that you won't have a meltdown when the pressure becomes intense and deadlines are looming. So the ability to stay calm under pressure is a highly prized talent. You can definitely share an instance where you remained calm despite the turmoil. Acknowledge that and obviously include the steps you are taking to respond better to pressure in the future. For example, you can indicate that you have started a mindfulness practice to help you better deal with stress. If suppose you are asked this kind of question, what can you answer? Here is an example from my side. I realize stressful situations are always going to come up, and I definitely have had to learn how to navigate them throughout my career. I think I get better at it with every new experience. While working on a new product launch at my last company, for example, things were not going according to plan with my team. So instead of pointing fingers, my first reaction was to take a step back and obviously figure out some of the strategies around how we could solve the problem at hand. So previously I may have defaulted to panicking in that situation. So being calm and collected was definitely a step forward and helped me approach the situation with more clarity. Another very important question that you can be asked in an interview is, do you prefer working independently or on a team? Your answer should be informed by the research you have done on the company culture and the job in question, obviously. So nevertheless, you should expect that most work environments will have some team aspect. Many positions, or rather most of the positions that you are going for an interview, will require you to work collaboratively with other people on a daily basis, while some roles require you to work on your own. So when you answer this question, highlight the best traits of your personality and tell how they fit the job requirements. It could also be in your interest to answer this question by highlighting the advantages and the disadvantages of both the situations. Like for example, if I was asked this question, I would have given an answer like this. I enjoy a blend of the two. I like having a team to strategize with, get diverse opinions from, and reach out to for feedback. but I'm also comfortable on taking assignments that require me to work independently. I find I do some of my best work when I can focus alone in a quiet space, but I really value collaborating with my teammates to come up with the best ideas. The next question that you can be asked is, when you're balancing multiple projects, how do you keep yourself organized? So here, the employers want to understand how you use your time and energy to stay productive and efficient. So they are also looking to understand if you have your own system for staying on track with the work beyond the company schedules and workflow plans. Be sure to emphasize that you adhere to the deadlines and take them seriously. Discuss a specific instance where you stayed on track. Talk about the importance and the urgency of the projects that you were working on and how you allocated your time accordingly. Explain how you remained organized and focused on the job in front of you. Like for example, you can, if you're asked this question, you can say that I am used to juggling projects at my current job where I am often moving between coding one software program to another. I use the time boxing technique to make sure they are all on track, thus allocating time on my calendar for certain tasks. I've found it really helps me prioritize what needs to get done first, and it holds me accountable for the more repetitive day-to-day tasks I'm responsible for. Another question that you can be asked in an interview is, what did you do in the last year to improve your knowledge? This question may come up as a result of the pandemic, because we have all went through this pandemic and employers want to know how people use their time differently. Know that you don't have to feel scared about answering this question if you didn't spend your time brushing up on your skills. Know that you don't have to feel scared about answering this question if you didn't spend your time brushing up on your skills or taking courses. We learn from any experience we have. If by chance you have spent your time owning on your professional skills, then you might say that the extra time, like here I'm giving you an example what you can say. The extra time on my plate really allowed me to get introspective around where I want to take my career. I read a lot of journals to keep abreast of the latest ideas in my field and also sharpen my skills by taking some online courses, such as you can mention the courses that you have taken. If by chance you didn't do anything productive related to improving your skills and you have focused your entire lockdown and entire pandemic on personality development, then you can say like this, for example, I'm saying, like everyone else, I too gained some time last year from not having to travel 2 hours a day to and from work. I decided to spend my time on things I love. So I got back to learning how to play the guitar and also journaling. I feel it brought me closer to myself and has been really great for my mental health and productivity. So next question that you can be asked is, what are your salary expectations? Now, before you walk in for your first interview, you should already know what the salary is for the position you're applying for. Check out websites such as Glassdoor, Fishbowl, or Vault.com for salary information. You could also ask the people in the field by reaching out to your community on the LinkedIn. Employers will always ask this question because every position is budgeted and they want to ensure that your expectations are consistent with that budget before moving forward. Remember that it's often better to discuss a salary range rather than a specific number during the interview and leaving room for negotiation. It's also better to err on the side of caution and quote a slightly higher number, as it's easier to negotiate downward than upward. If you take my advice, I would suggest you not to bring up questions about salary until your interviewer does so. Suppose you are asked, what salary do you expect? You can answer like this, like for example, based on my skills and experience on the current industry rates, I am looking at salary around a specific amount. So just talk about an estimate. Okay, do not go for a particular number, rather go for a range. You mention your range. Suppose your interviewer is asking you, are you applying for some other jobs also along with this? Interviewers basically want to know if you are genuinely interested in this position or not, or if it's just one of your many options. So simply they want to know if you are their top choice. Honesty is the best policy, so if you're applying for other jobs also, say so. You don't have to necessarily say where you are applying unless you have another offer, but they might want to know where in the hiring process you are with other companies. So you can also mention that you are actively looking for offers if your interviewer asks. Now, for example, I would like to suggest you that you can say, I have applied to a couple of other firms, but this role is really the one I am most excited about right now because of certain stuff that you have heard about that position. You can say about those things. Especially you can incorporate your own answer about how the position or the vacancy has attracted you, or how you have got excited about that particular position that the company is offering. Now, the next question is also quite common in the interviews. That is, from your resume, it seems you took a year gap. Would you like to tell us why you did so and what was that all about? Now, year gaps are very common in everyone's life, right? So you have to write about that in your curriculum with your resume. And when the interviewers see that, they have a bit negative connotation about you. That why you have left a year gap. You know why they feel so? Because the industry moves too fast and you are not up to date with that. Let your interviewer know that your gap year wasn't about procrastinating about your transition from childhood to adulthood, but that it added value to the confident professional you have become. Based on what part of the world you are in and how common these are, employers are likely looking to hear stories of what you did and how your experiences have benefited and prepared you for this role. So try to provide a short explanation of why you decided to pursue a gap year, and then focus on what came out of it that made a positive difference for your future. Like, for example, if I would have been in that place, I would have said like this, that during my last year of high school, I didn't feel ready to choose any particular educational path. So I took a wilderness course for a few months to sort out my life goals. It may seem a little random, but the time I have spent actually helped me to develop so many new skills in the areas of leadership, communication, and so on and so forth. So during that time, I realized that I wanted to earn a degree in a particular, like you can mention the subject you wanted to take a degree in to align with my passion, you can see. So you have to mention your passion also, and how the degree that you have attended or you have secured is relating to your passion. To make a winning impression, you'll need to answer each question with poise and passion. But practicing first really helps. Meticulous preparation will allow you to appear confident and in control, helping position you as the ideal candidate when the competition is tough. So if you want to know more about how to crack interviews or what kind of questions you might be asked in an interview, then you can join our classes. Here you will get the facilities of live lectures, recorded lectures, portal access, which would be available to all the enrolled candidates 24/7. We will also provide you with live lectures, then doubt clearing sessions are there. The study materials will be given to your to all the enrolled candidates at their doorstep. We will also provide you with mock test facilities, worksheets after every sessions. The solved study materials would be provided. The solutions would be provided from the previous year's question papers related to any entrance examination, related to any competitive and entrance examinations. So if you are by chance taking preparation for some other entrance examinations, or you want to prepare for an interview or give mock tests, then you can join our classes. So we at Sources Classes are also providing crash courses and also mock test facilities and scholarship facilities. So if you are somehow interested in our classes, then you can join our classes through the enrollment form, which is provided in our website, official website, that is www.sourcesclasses.com. You can also call us, and if you have any kind of doubts regarding any kind of courses or any kind of learning stuff or study materials, you can just call us and we will solve all your doubts. So that's it for today's class. We're going to meet once again in our next classes.